Well, look who's back again. So, I guess there was a reason why I did not split the Virgo video into parts, two parts. And that's because I needed my third notification if it goes out for this video. So, the ever generous, ever wonderful, ever talented ear, resonant heart, Matthew has gifted me with two decks. I go outside, I bump into something and something fall. I'm like, what was that? My mom was like, you got two packages. I'm like, wait. Matthew has found a way to get me the sunshine and rainbows and flowers tarot. I actually love this deck. I only looked at like two cards. He gifted me the Happy Tarot by Serena Fica. And like I love the art style. The Fool, the Magician, the High Priestess. It is so cute. It is so adorable. I could use these with the Kawaii Tarot. I did not expect this. Thank you so much. Who was that? Oh, the Six of Cups. I'm obsessed with this art style. I think, the Five of Wands. I was like, ooh, they don't look too happy. But let's see. Let's pull a few cards. So, Happy Tarot. What is the first thing? The first thing you want to say? Hey, Holly, welcome back again. Welcome back for the third time. Well, welcome back for the second time today. It's the Three of Pentacles. This card has been coming out quite a bit lately. I love this. The bottom of the deck is the Lovers. Aww. This deck is going to help me integrate some lighter vibrations into my readings and my spreads and things like that. It's going to help me in that way. The deck said, you've been lacking. Well, Matthew said, you've been lacking. I need to get you some. I'm just playing. But I love it. I'm like so high-key obsessed with this art style. It almost makes me think of like a Candyland. Ooh, and then the Ace of Cups is behind the Lovers. And the Ace of Swords is behind that. I love the Ace of Swords behind the Lovers and the Ace of Cups because it feels like it's still like, just because the tone is a lot brighter and it's a lot more colorful doesn't make it any less true, right? Like, it's not necessarily going to be sugar coated. It'll be sugary, but it's not sugar coated. You know, it's sweet because it's sweet. It's sugar, girl. This water is so good. It's cool. So that was the first deck. And he also gifted me the Antique Anatomy Tarot. I'm like, ooh. I'm a little afraid of... I mean, I'm sure it's not going to be like grotesque. Well, I haven't seen the Three of Swords. Or the Ten of Swords. It's all in your hands. That's what it says in the box. And then it has like this flower motif. So this is the flower for the Flower Tarot. These are the sunshine and rainbows. Who was that? The Two of Cups. Ace of Cups, the Lovers, Two of Cups. What? Okay. And it comes with a book, this one. They both come with books. What? What? Oh, that makes sense. Oh, duh. It's numerological. I'm looking at these. I'm like, companion cards. I'm looking at the majors like Death, Numerology 13, Astrological Correspondence, Scorpio, Element Water, Companion card, the Emperor. I was like, oh, companion cards. What's that? But they're numerologically the same. Death is a 13, 4, the Emperor is a 4. So I figured it out. Oh gosh. I'm looking at the Fool and it's a foot. Put your best foot forward. And we still get the flowers. I love like the contrast of the flowers, like the color of the flowers next to the more like sepia tone of the cards. Also, the femur is the longest bone in the body? Question mark. Morphine. The four of elixirs. So I'm going to assume elixirs are cups, rods are rods, coins are pinnacles, and blades are swords. That's easy enough. Let's see. Oh, this is the card back, by the way. The King of Blades. King of Swords, Father of Swords came out for Virgo. The King of Blades. Oof. That looks painful. I have to, let me see. With the four of rods, sorry, the six of rods at the bottom of the deck. Are these cosmos? Does the book tell me what flower these are? I just want to give this a few shuffles and see what the first card is. And then I'll pull a few cards. Actually, I'll see if there's a spread in here. It is kind of late, though. So I don't want to do too much tonight. I got to work a full day tomorrow. You love flowers and anatomy? I don't know. Anatomy is the one thing I've never took. Well, I signed up for it. I couldn't get into the anatomy without the lab, and I wasn't about to do an anatomy lab. I know in high school they like dissected cadavers or cat cadavers. I was like, I didn't even dissect the worm that we had to dissect. My partner did all of it. Her name was Krista. She's amazing. I love her. Found out that she watches anime. Inuyasha. She was talking about Inuyasha. Inuyasha is the anime that has the one dude that has the sword that heals people. I was like, what? You're into anime? She was like your stereotypical popular girl in high school, like blonde, tall ish, like thin. She was in like choir or show choir and she sang. And like she also took Latin, I think. I'm pretty sure she took Latin at least for a few years because maybe she didn't. I feel like she did. I remember her singing Ave Maria. And her dad was a teacher there. I think he's actually the one that taught anatomy. And I think he was upset with her because she kept going to different classes to sing. And he was like, she should be like saving her voice or she shouldn't be overdoing it or something like that. I don't remember. But yeah, she watched anime. I was like, what? Girl, you watch anime? What? What? That's why she's one of my favorite people. Like, given diversity. She's like, just because I'm like cute and popular doesn't mean I can't be a nerd too. Not that anime makes you nerdy, but anyway. The Ancient Anatomy Tarot. Let me breathe first. Hold up. I gotta get a breath ready. Okay. What is the first card you want to give me? What's the first card you're gonna give me, and then what's your vibe? But first, we'll do the first card. Oh, that's more than one. 25 cards, just almost flipped over. It is. I like Latin. I took it for. Oh gosh, that's more than one. No. So the first card is the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cards. The first of which being the Hanged Man. The Hanged Man is interesting though. I've only seen 3 cards in this deck. But right off the bat, it seems like one of the few cards where we get the entire skeleton. And then it's the 3 of Blades. Followed by the 4 of Blades. Followed by the Devil. The Ace of Blades. The 2 of Blades. The Tower. So, swords and majors. The Tower. Justice. Strength. The 8 of Elixirs. Oh, that's it. That's it. And the 8 of Elixirs. Look at that Let Go potion. That's the one that my eye immediately went to. Let Go potion, Aura Cleanser, Soul Journey, Wake Up potion, The Void, and Aura Cleanse. Despair is another one. What's at the bottom of the deck? The Queen of Coins. I'm going to have to read this. I feel like this one doesn't immediately just say something. At first glance, the Hangman can cause feelings of unease and fear until you realize that the rope around his neck is loose and he is there voluntarily. Technically, he can walk away whenever he wants to, but he understands that it's where he needs to be right now. I just love that in general. The Hanged Man is all about suspended time and the act of taking a break. Sometimes doing nothing at all can help you to view a situation through a new and renewed lens. There is also an underlying energy of acceptance with this card. Understand that there are some things you can't change, and that occasionally you need to give something up in order to gain something better. Love the message in that Hanged Man. Who was next? The 3 of Blades? Let's see, where the blades at? The 3 of Blades is the most heartbreaking card in the tarot. It carries with it unimaginable despair and anguish, which unfortunately is a necessary part of the journey with the cards and in life. usually signifying the end of an important relationship or personal venture. This card represents the grief associated with the death. Mourning is natural and healthy, but at some point you have to pick yourself up and move forward without holding on to the heartache. Take the lesson, not the pain, into your future. And it's interesting because one of the key words, of course, is despair. And despair is one of the 8 potions. It's this one right there. Are there, hold up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there are 9 cards and 8 elixirs. Let's read the Devil and the Tower. The devil is all about the destructive behaviors that keep us tied up in bondage. This card carries with it the 7 deadly sins: envy, gluttony, greed, lust, pride, sloth, and wrath. These attributes are, more often than not, self inflicted, but the devil can also point to an abusive person in your life, so be sure to keep your guard up. With the devil, the only way to be set free is to break these patterns and begin the healing process. But it can be hard to pull yourself away from the things that give you instant gratification. Remind yourself that you deserve nothing but the best, and if you do the hard work now, the payoff in the end will be great. I also don't even necessarily mind that one too much because I feel like with the hangman is all about, it's like it spoke of the voluntary choice to be in a position. There's like, oof, girl. I mean, substance abuse is the easiest thing to get to because it's like being voluntarily in a position of like standstill. The Three of Swords is immediately there with grief. And then we have the devil, and it talked about instant gratification. It can be hard to pull yourself away from the things that give you instant gratification. But instead of like gratification, it feels like it's more like relief from whatever said grief or pain is. But there's a Four of Swords after that Three of Swords, and the Four of Swords is an energy of rest. I would say healing typically, but it feels like it's more just like rest. And rest can be healing. Uh, and then between the devil and the tower, it feels like the tower is breaking free from the devil. It's the Ace of Blades and the Two of Blades. So that's like some kind of enlightenment followed by a decision. Then after that tower is justice, strength, and the 8 of elixirs. I actually love this. Okay. It took me a second because I was like, I don't know much about flowers, and I'm looking at all these flowers, and I never took anatomy. But actually, I love those. Okay. So that was the first thing this deck wanted to talk about. It was about how we voluntarily keep ourselves stuck in certain places because of grief, and it is normal and it's healthy to grieve. But at a certain point, we have to pick ourselves up and move on and do our best to leave the pain and the heartache behind us. Immediately after that was the Four of Swords, which was it was a moment of rest. And then followed the devil, right? So maybe that's like they're especially going off of like the more substance abusey type of whatever. Uh, it's like there are things that give us that instant gratification of just like being able to exist and not be burdened by whatever was in that Three of Swords. But with the Ace of Swords, it's almost like it comes the realization that by continuing to rely on a substance like that is the very thing that actually keeps us voluntarily in the Three of Swords. And from like being inside of it, it might be counterintuitive, like the way that we're seeking help or the way that we're seeking to cope with something is actually keeping us in the thing because the thing that we're coping with gets us out of it. But without doing anything to actually move ourselves beyond it, we don't move on. That suspended time is when we are engaging in whatever coping mechanism. Because as soon as the high wears off, or as soon as we come back to reality in whatever way, the pain is still there. So after that realization, we have a new decision with the Two of Swords to make to really break ourselves free with that tower. And after that decision to break free, I don't know how costly it is. I don't know if there's going to be like withdrawal or whatever. But with justice coming after that tower, it makes it feel like it's worth it. And with strength, it gives us a strength to, like, it's almost like because we overcame that one thing, we can overcome many others. Or that one thing might be the beginning of us discovering how strong we are and that it's possible for us to move beyond certain things that maybe we thought we'd never move beyond. And then with the Eight of Cups after that, it's like we do that whole like tower, justice, strength, tower, justice, strength, tower, justice, strength in more and more areas of our lives until we become more and more unburdened, more and more free. And then we can really move on with that Eight of Cups energy to begin to enter the precipice of wish fulfillment and true happiness with the Nine of Cups and the Ten of Cups following the Eight. Oof. Okay. I can get down with it. Hey Zelda, how's it going? I hope you are feeling better about your job and I hope that things are going better for you. Oh gosh, why is it coming up with so many cards? So this is the vibe. How many cards is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 cards for the vibe, 10 cards for the first message. Ooh, this is the chatty deck. I might like it. It's very my vibe. Thanks, Matt. How'd you know? You want a deck that's gonna have you on here for 5 hours? Well, you got it. I'm just playing. The moon with the 4 of coins. Well, first is the moon. And this is interesting because it feels like the spine and the skull, but the spine is like Ouroboros. It's not straight. But what I like about this is it's because a lot of times it can be easy to map energetically and physiologically, anatomically, the different energy centers to points along the spine and the skull and the spine. But here, since it's like in a ring, it's almost like it delineates the energetic system. And it puts them in a circle where like they all sort of affect each other and no one energetic center is any more important than the other because it's a circle, like the round table of King Arthur. It's a round table because no knight is ahead of the other. No one is the foot or the tail. They all work together. And so almost like the Ten of Cups and the High Priestess in that Virgo and earlier, almost like the star and the moon in Capricorn. It's almost like there are many things that are actively working together for the better. Well, they're working together for some reason. And that reason, the purpose, the way that they all connect is going to be revealed soon. We may find, and it's probably likely, that it works together for the better. This is the 6 of coins, by the way, not the 4. So I know this one is the skull. This one is the tailbone. I'm not sure what that one is. Is that like the torso? Are those ribs? Maybe not. I don't know. I think I'll leave that bone a mystery. Because there's the skull being the crown. There's the pelvis being like the sacral. And like, Kundalini energy, it lives in the sacral and it rises to the crown. So giving me some more energetic system vibes. But with this one bone that I don't know, it's not unknown. I just don't know what this bone is. It feels like there's another system, energetic system, or it's like the energy centers that aren't the major seven. It's there's this it reminds me of this anime that I've watched. And in this anime, it's like there's this invisible organ that people have, that there's like an invisible organ that we have, and then there's like basically energy that we have. And people on this planet, on this version of Earth, had no idea that we had this invisible organ that was like the heart, like how the heart pumps blood through the body. There's this organ on the other side that moves like this energetic, almost spiritual energy throughout the body. But you can't see it on any x-ray. It's invisible. But that energetic hub is there. It makes me think of that. And they only found out about it because their world was invaded by more advanced planets that were trying to get people as like soldiers to like harvest that energy. They didn't know about it. Anyway, it makes me think of that. And then it's the seven of coins. The seven of coins, I mean, there are seven energetic centers, yeah, sure, but maybe we're off of that a little bit. Um, but it feels like the many things that one has to be aware of in taking care of something. With the seven of coins being an energy of like nurturing and cultivating and caring for something. With all of these skulls being on the coins, again, it just feels like the many things that we have to be aware of. And the things that are for us to be aware of at that. You know what I mean? Like how much sunlight is it getting? How much water is it getting? What's the temperature of the soil? Are there enough nutrients in the soil? Stuff like that. There are things that like plants need that we may not even necessarily know about. Like going back to this hidden organ, this invisible organ that moves this energy through us that we're not even necessarily aware about. Like that's something that we don't know about. We're not expected to know about it. If you don't know, you're not expected to know. Take care of the things that you can take care of. This is taking care of the things that we can take care of within the realm of our knowledge, within our purview. And then after that is the Ace of Rods. And it feels like when we take care of the things that we can take care of, whatever this invisible, it's like the divine will do the rest. But it's like when we take care of the things that are for us to take care of, everything else will like be in harmony. Like it's like if you eat right, it doesn't matter if you know what your blood levels are. It's like as long as you're taking care of your body, everything will be good. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. I'm trying to make it make sense. It makes sense. It feels like everything else flourishes. Everything flourishes, including the things that we don't even necessarily know that we don't know. Then after that is the Lovers, which, of course, they're going to show the heart. I would say that this is self-love. A little bit. I would be tempted to say that this Lovers card is a little bit more self-love because it's only one heart. And if you put two anatomical hearts together, you can get a shape that mirrors that like heart shape that we're used to. It's like the heart is two hearts that are put together. But the Five of Blades is behind this. Oof, this just took a turn. The Five of Blades is behind this. I think because it's four blades pointed upwards and one blade pointed down, and because this is self love, it makes me think of performative self love. Um, Performative self love being when we show ourselves that we love ourselves more so than we just say, "Oh, I love myself." So going back to the Seven of Pentacles, sort of being the energy of everything that we have to be mindful of. It feels like this is a combination of us actually doing it. It feels like the way it's depicted in default, we prioritize our comfort more than anything. So that's why it's four swords pointing up. The four swords being like rest, being that rejuvenation, being that recuperation, being that ease. And the Ace of Swords pointing down. It's like there are things that maybe we remain willingly ignorant of because of what we feel like we'll have to do with that information. But self love is more than just a word, it's also action. Um, and after that, Five of Blades is the Six of Blades. This is an interesting Six of Blades. All right, have a good night, Holly. This is an interesting six because going off of this self love, it's almost like there's there's the disappointment, pain, grief, heartbreak that we have. But then there's like this disappointing grief and heartbreak that we would have from not doing the thing, especially if we come into the vicinity of self love. Because it's like this. It's like us prioritizing how we feel and feeling like safe and not feeling in the Three of Swords. And nobody wants to stay in the Three of Swords, but it's like three of these swords are the Three of Swords. The other three, it's like when we know that if we do the difficult thing, it would help us get over it or get through it. It would help us to put it behind us so it doesn't continue to hinder us or hold us in some way. And when we know that we could do something to actually help ourselves, it feels like it dampens the high. Because it's like we know, right? It's like I know I could be doing something to actually get over it, but I can't. So I'm gonna do this other thing. But while we're doing that other thing, it's like this isn't really helping anymore. It's the point where it doesn't help anymore. Because we need more and more and more and more. It feels like that's this. Six of Swords. And then we have the Two of Rods. The Two of Rods is making a choice, making a decision. I feel like the Two of Rods is going further. It's doing the thing that we know we need to do. Um, and it's going to open us up to life with less pain. Potentially, maybe someday, eventually free. But at the very least, more immediately, less pains where we get out of the grief. And it's interesting because they remind me of bows for like a violin. But it also makes me think of a railroad crossing sign. The last coin, or the last card, is the Knight of Coins. Loving the purple flowers. So this is what? Crown, third eye, throat, upper three chakras, because, we see them. I like that we see the head upright with support. The head is supported here. And I feel like that's significant. It's not just like a skull on a coin. It's a skull with the neck branching out into the collarbone. It all supports the head. A head held high. It's almost like reaching the point where we can live in a way that we're proud of. But again, going back to like who determines what decision is a good decision or a bad decision, a lot of times it's the things that happen after we make that choice or decision where we eventually go, oh, that was a good choice or that was a bad choice. Hindsight. But it's almost like it's never a bad decision to act in self-love. To do the thing that you need to do for you. Never a bad choice. Never a bad decision. The bottom of the deck is the Four of Rods, Four of Wands. And I like this because hooks and drills imply really setting a foundation. Like this drills into the ground, it drills into whatever it drills into. And then with the hooks, we get to like suspend stuff. So like the hooks imply that there's a connection to something like above. This is the connection to the below. This is the connection to the above. Love that. With the Knight of Elixirs behind that, and the King of Elixirs behind that, and the Ace of Elixirs behind that. Followed by the Ten of Coins. Fertility tonic is the Knight of Elixirs. Oh, see? After that, we see like even more of like the rib cage, the shoulders. Like this was the Knight of Coins. We saw the beginning of that support. It feels like it's really starting to like flesh out. And then with the King of Elixirs, it's the calming tonic. So we get calming and fertility. With the calming tonic, it is like it's a little bit less about like us starting to reach out and affect stuff. It's a little bit more focused on like, the chest. We're almost at the heart. I think we can actually see the heart here. Yeah, the heart should be in there. Oh, well, here's the heart and the love potion on the Ace of Elixirs. There it is. Oh, see, look. Because of that, we've built out enough of a structural sort of foundation, a skeletal. We built out enough of the framework to be able to house and protect the heart. This is interesting. I would not have necessarily expected that. All right, so that was about what 19 to 23 cards that I just showed from this deck. I'm gonna get a final card because it's late, and then I'll see what the vibe is of the Happy Tarot. I actually love these, and I feel like these could play really well together. I feel like I was thinking like who's going to be the first sign to get these, and immediately it's like Pisces. I'm like, oh gosh, it would be Pisces. freaking with that energy of overconsumption and escapism. Come for the Pisces. Feelings are hard for. I don't even think feelings are easy for water signs. But they can be not that bad. Is that the Ace of Elixirs? The Ace of Elixirs comes out when I'm like, feelings are hard. Not taking them, but. Oh, I'll take this one. The Seven of Coins is going to be the final card. At the bottom of the deck, it's the Emperor. And what I love about this Emperor is we've got skin, we've got muscle, and there's another important organ housed in that area. One, at least. I'm sure there are several. The lungs. That's our ability to communicate. So it's almost like it's good to be able to be more encompassing when it comes to preparation. But it feels like, communication is also important and a solid, healthy foundation is important. So make sure we're taking care of the soil. Or that it's just like, it's almost like knowing the history of the land before we even break it to begin to like build a garden. Right. How does that apply to us? Um, just knowing what we've been through. And it's almost like, if you've gone through several relationships that aren't good and you have a problem trusting people, it feels like instead of the Three of Swords focused approach of like, I've been through this and I've been through that and I've been cheated on, lied to, manipulated, all of this stuff happened to me and that's why I struggle to trust, and hanging on to that, it feels like with the Seven of Pentacles, it's more matter of fact and without the feeling or emotion. And it's kind of weird to say if like you're the person that experienced it. But it's just an understanding. Like I've been through situations where I trusted people that I shouldn't have. And because I trusted people that I shouldn't have in the past, I have a difficult time, A, trusting people, and B, trusting my judgment when it comes to whether or not I can trust people. And so because of that, I may encounter difficulties when it comes to meeting people or getting closer to people. And it almost feels that like without the focus and emphasis, because like it's still talked about like what happened, but it feels like it's not consumed in the emotions of it. And so it feels like it allows space for like, if I'm going to open up or if I'm going to get close, like number one, it's just for me to know that it's going to take time. Also with the lungs, communication, it's like if it's with another person, like, hey, I've been through this. And so it's going to take me some time to get to trust you because I've experienced people who took advantage of my trust before. And it feels like if that's a conversation and if that relationship is to continue with that understanding, it's like now you've allowed the other person. It's like you don't have to go into it full detail, but it's like if they know that patience is something that they're going to have to do, or it's like, like I don't mind proving to you over and over and over again that you can trust me. Like I know it's going to take time and I don't mind being here. It feels like it creates a path to that healing, or it creates a path to being able to do that. Again, outside of just the sheer weight of all of the pain of like the betrayal and betrayal at the hands of somebody else, but maybe even feeling like you betrayed yourself, right? Happy Tarot, what do you have to say about that? It's interesting because the Lovers is right behind that Emperor, so maybe it is a little bit more with the heart, relationships and trip. Oh, the Star is here. The Star is here with the finger pointing to that bone that I don't know what it is. Oh, it's healing the heart. Love that. What card is this that immediately flipped over? It is the Knight, the Page of Lollipops. I think it's the Page of Lollipops. We're gonna call it the Page of Wands. I love how sweet this is. And going back to the energy, I think the moon came out here too. Yeah, it did. That energy of like how there are things that were put in position that have been working towards coming together. And we're going to reach the point where we realize like all the dots are going to connect. It feels like this sweetness is coming in. And so that's what it's almost like the other deck was getting us to, within our power, within our ability, do the things that we know we need to do to be prepared to accept it, or to be more ready to accept it. And it's not to be perfect. It's never to be perfect because we're not perfect. We're not perfect in the terms of how we view perfection. I view perfection in, is the acorn acorning, is the rock rocking, are the fish fishing? Well, hopefully the fish aren't fishing for other fish unless they're like sharks. If they're predatory carnivorous fish, then yeah, maybe sure. I guess a lot of fish eat smaller fish. But anyway, it's like us being who we are. It's not us holding ourselves to these impossibly high standards. That's not how I view perfection. Is Patrick Patricking? Am I being me in all of my Patrick ways? Yeah, okay, I'm perfect. Right? Like, I don't think the divine is asking me to be anybody or anything else than what I am. So if I'm being me, then yeah. But anyway. All of that is to prepare us for this sweetness. That's a song by Phoenix. No, is that Two Door Cinema Club? Maybe someday we'll be somewhere talking to me as if you knew me, saying, oh, not a book. I'll be home. I'll be home for next year, maybe sometime in a long time. I don't know what that is. I'll just type in the lyrics. Maybe someday we'll be somewhere. Or is it you'll be somewhere? You'll be somewhere talking to me next year is the song by Two Door Cinema Club. I don't know where I'm going to read the lyrics. I don't know where I am going to rest my head tonight, so I won't promise that I'll speak to you today. But if I ever find another place, a better time for that moment, I was never what I am. Take me to where you are, what you've become, and what you will do when I am gone. I won't forget. I won't forget. Maybe someday you'll be somewhere talking to me as if you knew me, saying, I'll be home for next year, darling. I'll be home for next year. In between the lines is the only place you'll find what you're missing, but you didn't know was there. See, that's stuff that's like not even communicated. So when I say goodbye, you must do your best to try and forgive me this weakness. Because I don't know what to say. Another day, another excuse to be sent your way. Another day, another year. And it's just like time keeps going because of the things that are just never said. It almost makes me think of when I would talk to one of my old friends, and he was like, Patrick, people aren't mind readers. And I was like, I ain't asking for a mind reader. I'm just asking for somebody who can be considerate. Hello? um, and everybody ain't that, you know? And it's not for everybody to be that. We have mouths, we can learn how to communicate. But anyway, there's something very, very, very sweet and sugary and delightful. And it's something that we want. Something that we want that it seems lies beyond what we believe we have the capability to receive. But that's not true. Bottom of the deck is this the queen? The knight. This is the knight. The knight of lollipops. Oof. I say oof because it feels like this was that energy walking. Almost like tempting us, motivating us to work through the things. And then it picks up speed and it comes in on the horse and it's like, oh gosh, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. And then the queen of lollipops and the king of lollipops. The whole wand suit, but under this king and queen of lollipops is this nine of swords. So again, it feels like that's a recognition of like it's not necessarily gonna be easy, but it's gonna be worthwhile. And that's why I feel like the lovers with that self love, and then the five of swords with that like doing the difficult thing really comes into play. It'll be worth it. It's not necessarily going to be easy, but it's going to be so worth it. And there is going to come a day where it feels like there's going to come a day where some of those things are going to be like distant memories. Our final card from the Happy Tarot. I love this deck so much. I just love like the colors and the illustrations. This one makes me think of Corey. Sorry. It's just like the big smile. And it's just like goofy. It's fun. It's the ace of lollipops. It's the ace of wands. The bottom of the deck is the five of swords. But I love that they're wooden swords in this deck. It almost feels like, though, it almost feels like this person is like hacking through. It feels like this person up here is clearing the way for them back there. But I don't even know if they're gonna like turn around and notice this path that's been cleared for them. That's what it's feeling like. And it feels like not only is this person clearing the path, but it feels like he's leaving these ace of swords along the way. So it's going to be like these different ace of swords realization moments that we have. And that was the thing with the devil, the ace of blades, the two of blades, and the tower. It was like the more we do, the more we know that we're capable of doing. So the more we make those difficult choices and decisions, the more self-love becomes a thing that we do as well as a thing that we say. It's like it's going to lead us further and further and further here to this ace. Or out of that, just general lost, confusion, everything else. Interesting. I mean, and the six of swords is behind it. With the nine of pentacles behind that six of swords. That's where it's leading us. And I love that it's the nine of pentacles, and it doesn't feel like this nine of pentacles is like strictly solo, but it's a non-codependent energy. It's solid within the self. And because it's solid within the self, it can really show up with and for others without being codependent. Yeah, because we have that king and queen of wands again. Both solid within themselves, both have that passion and drive. It's like they both have things that they individually want out of life. And it's not that they don't coincide with the other. It's not that there aren't things that they do together, but they're not codependent on each other. But they really enjoy the presence of the other person. The other person makes life even that much more sweeter. You know what I mean? It's gorgeous. Because it's almost like codependency wouldn't be, it's almost like instead of having a dependence on a substance or on shopping or on something else with that devil energy, we just put that dependence in a person. And sometimes, especially when we're feeling low, we can, if we don't have the ability to cope within self, it can be easy to start to ask things from people that they just can't give us. But that doesn't mean that, we won't find people who can be patient and understanding with us. You know what I mean? So, wow. I mean, it was still like nice and happy and gorgeous. It was just like from like the happy tarot and maybe from the anatomical, the vintage, the antique anatomy. I don't know if that's necessarily unexpected, but I didn't necessarily expect it to be that deep, if you know what I mean. Well, let's read the book. I got this the LWB, the little white book. Let's see. Which one are we going to read? We'll read that, we'll do the Ace of Wands. Ace of Wands, a new endeavor is beginning. The burst of energy you feel will inspire you to new heights of invention. Take advantage of it. You can find happiness and creativity. The Five of Swords was at the bottom. If you fight with honor, you will be victorious, whether you win the battle or not. Be aware of those who try to win through trickery or deceit. You can find happiness by remaining true to your principles. Hey, David, how's it going? And then it was the Ace of Wands, the Five of Swords at the bottom, followed by the Six of Swords, and then the King and Queen of Pentacles. Six of Swords, don't stay in the midst of a conflict that isn't going anywhere. You'll benefit more from reserving your strength and living to fight another day. You can find happiness by choosing your battles. So you can find happiness by remaining true to your principles, by choosing your battles, and you can find happiness and creativity. I love that. Well, it is the Happy Tarot, so you can find happiness and creativity and sticking to your principles and in choosing your battles. So there you go. I hope you all have a good whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. Thank you, David, Holly, and Zelda for stopping by, even though it was a little brief, David. Thank you again, Matt, for finding a way to get me the sunshine, rainbows, and lollipops tarot. You'll have to let me know if this is what you expected. I'm just kidding. All right. Have an excellent night, morning, evening, afternoon.